Alright, this is Chapter 10, Lesson 3, Surface Area of Rectangular Prisms. So, in order to figure out surface area is on the outside of the box. So think about like if you're wrapping a present. So on the outside, that's the surface area, like what you're covering in wrapping paper. And on the inside, that's the volume of the box. So the first two lessons that we had were actually talking about volume. Now we're going to talk about surface area. So the surface area, or S dot A, of a rectangular prism with length L, W, width W, and height H is the sum of the areas of its faces. So I add each of these together. Okay? So the surface area of a prism is the sum of the area of its faces. So you can see what I basically did was I took this box, this cube, or this prism I should say, and I broke it down and I drew it out. So any rectangular prism is going to have a side, a bottom, a back, a front, a side, and a top. Okay, any rectangular prism that you have. So I do front and back should be the same. So 2 times the length times the height. The top and bottom should be the same. 2 times the length times the width. And the two sides should be the same. 2 times height times width. And then I add all that together. Okay. So taking a look at an example, find the surface area of the rectangular prism. Find the area of each pair of faces, front and back. So my front and back, what I did was I did 8 times 6, 6 times 7, 6 times 8, so those are the same, these are the same, so that's 8 times 7, which is 56. So the front and the back were 2 times 8 times 6, or 2 times 48, and then 2 times 7 times 8 is my top and bottom. 2 times 7 times 8, top and bottom, 7 times 8, okay? So that's 2 times 56. And then the sides, 7 times 6, and there's 2 of them, so 42 times 2. So 48 plus 48 plus 56 plus 56 plus 42 plus 42 is 292 square meters. Okay, so I'm finding surface area, so area again is squared. Okay, I can also find the surface area using the formula, which is 2LH plus 2LW plus 2HW. You just have to assign a length, a width, and a height to each one. Okay. So I replace L with 9, 7, and 13. So 2 times 9 times 13 plus 2 times 9 times 7 plus 2 times 13 times 7 gives you 234 plus 126 plus 182. Add it all together, you get 542. So the surface area of the prism is 542 square inches, or inches squared. Okay. Next example, find the surface area of the rectangular prism. Okay. So I find the area of each face, again the front and the back. 7 times 4 is 56, times 2, there's 2 of them. Top and bottom, 5 times 7 is 35, and there's 2 of them, so that's 70. Then the left and the right side, which is 5 times 4, which is 20, times 2 is 40. So I add them all together, and I get 166 square feet. So let's do this one together. So find the surface area of the rectangular prism. To find the area of each face, determine the dimensions. The length is 7, the width is 4.8, and the height is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute this in using the formula. 2LH, L is 7, so 2 times 7, H is 6, so 7 times 6 times 2 gives me 84. Top and bottom is 2LW. Well, L is 7. W is 4.8. So 7 times 4.8 times 2 is 67.2. And then two sides, 2HW is 2 times 6 times 4.8. Gives me 57.6. So I have 84 plus 67.2 plus 57.6. So I add those together, and I get 208.8 square centimeters. Alright, there are a couple of try problems out below. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try them out, and when you're done, we'll go over the answers together. Alright, now that you've had a chance to try out the try problems, let's go over the answers together. So, the first try problem I have says find the surface area of the rectangular prism. So here's my rectangular prism. They've actually already drawn the net diagram out for you. So I'm going to go ahead and in each of those boxes, I'm going to write the area for the box. So I have 10 times 10, which is 100. So this one is also 100 because the blue match. Okay. Then I have 10 times 15, which is 150. So that's the green, 150. Okay, and then the yellow is 10 times 15, so that's also 150. Okay, so 15 and 10. Okay, so that means I need to add all these together. So 100 plus 150 plus 150 plus 150 plus 100 plus 150. Okay, when I add all those together, it gives me 800. So 800 inches squared, because I'm dealing with surface area, so inches squared. So 100 plus 150 plus 150 plus 150 plus 100 plus 150. So it gives me 800. Okay. The second one I have says find the surface area of the rectangular prism. So I'm going to go ahead and actually use the formula for that. So we talked about the formula. The formula was 2LW plus 2LH plus 2HW. And I'm going to say L equals 3, W equals 4, H equals 2. Okay? Doesn't matter which order you put them in because you're dealing with rectangular prisms. So you can use any one that you want. You just have to be consistent. So 2 times 3 times 4 plus 2 times 3 times 2 plus 2 times 2 times 4. Okay? So I just substituted in my variables. 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. Plus 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12. Plus 2 times 2 is 4, times 4 is 16. So if I add those together, I get 52 meters squared. Okay, make sure you include your units. Alright, letter C. The largest corrugated cardboard box ever constructed measured about 23 feet long, 9 feet high, and 8 feet wide. Would 950 square feet of paper be enough to cover the box? Justify your answer. So I need to figure out my surface area, so I'm going to use 2LW plus 2LH plus 2HW in order to solve this. So feet long, so my L is 23. My W is 8, and my height is 9, okay? So I have 2 times 23 times 8 plus 2 times 23 times 9 plus 2 times 9 times 8, okay? And all I did was I just substituted in, I kept my formula. So I do 2 times 23 times 8, which gives me 368. 2 times 23 times 9, which gives me 414. And 2 times 9 times 8 gives me 144. I add those together, and I get 926. This is feet squared, okay? And I have 950 square feet of paper. So 926 is less than 950, so I do have enough to cover the box. So yes, you have enough cover the box because 926 feet squared is less than 950 feet squared. Okay? Make sure you justify your answer. You tell why 950 is enough to cover the box. Because when you found the square, when you found the surface area, it's 926. That's less than 950. And that is the end of Chapter 10, Lesson 4. And that is the end of Chapter 10, Lesson 3.